everyone. Sorry I'm a little sweaty. A lot sweaty. I went outside. How goofy. Now I went outside because I had to get the mail. There was something in there that might melt delivery-wise. So I had to go and get that. And I washed out my Chemex. So I need to put it back together. And it's always a fun puzzle when I need to. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's about as close as that gets, I think. Unless it's this way, which it doesn't appear to be. That's this way, okay. So we did it. We did the chicharron last night, pork belly in the air fryer. It's absolutely fantastic. You need to get a pork belly, which may be easy, may be difficult, depending on where you are in the world or in the US. Mostly it's specialty markets. We got ours at a Latin Asian grocery store. It doesn't seem right. Yeah, but so what we did was you buy it, and the guy we bought it from we approached and he's like, oh, if you want small pork bellies, they're in the case. And I'm like, well, what if we want a large pork? What if we want large pork belly? So we got a decent sized one. It was about this big, by this big. Cut it in half. The other half is in the refrigerator right now, ready to be used. But last night, so we had one that was about this big. You flip it skin side down onto a sheet tray lined with salt. And you let it marinate in that salt for about an hour. A little over an hour if you can help it. And then what you do is you pull that off of there. You wash the salt off the skin. You'll know which side is the skin side and which side is the meat side because the skin side is actually pig skin. I know that might sound like a turnoff, but to be honest, there's nothing really gross about it. I mean, it's just skin, you know, which I guess sounds gross. But anyway, you do that, wash it off, dry everything off, and then if you have an air fryer, you set the air fryer to about 380 degrees, and then you put it in the air, well, first, you get your cutting board out, and you cut it into strips. I cut mine into strips that were about that wide. So, and it was like this, so you can get about 4 strips out of the slab that I cut in half. So half of the slab that I have. And then you kind of make little incision cuts through the meat part. I'd say about maybe a ½ an inch, depending on how tall the meat is. And then you put it in your air fryer at 380 degrees for 30 minutes. Halfway through, flip them over. You put them meat side down. You don't put it on the skin. You put it sideways, I guess, so that the cuts are facing like this direction or this direction, not up and down. You put it in there for about 30 minutes. About 15 minutes, you should flip it. I know that there's air circulating down there, but there's definitely a lot of heat coming from the top, regardless of the circulation. So to get it evenly cooked, that's the best way to do it. After that, we pulled it out, cut it into strips. He made tostones from green plantains. Buy some green plantains, you deep fry them for a little bit, and then you flatten them flat when they get soft, and then you put them back in until they become crispy in the fryer, and that's delicious anyway. But so we made it, and what's amazing is that you think for some reason in your head, even though you've never experienced making chicharron before, so you don't exactly know how it's going to turn out for you. You expect the skin to get all hard and you have to break it off. It's a pork rind. It tastes just like a pork rind. It has the same texture as a delicious crispy pork rind that offers very little resistance except for the crunch when you bite through it. And it's absolutely delicious. And we made it at home for the first time and it was great. And we put it on the tostones. He made a pineapple, cilantro, red onion. I think he put some garlic in it and lime juice and salt. I don't exactly know exactly what that's called. I think there was supposed to be avocado in it, but we really aren't avocado people. So we didn't have any avocados. But yeah, that was 35 grams, by the way. So we did that last night and it was absolutely amazing. So good. There are many other recipes, but it's amazing just a little salt. And I know that we basically dry brined the back end of it in salt, but before you put it in the air fryer, you kind of just lightly lightly drizzle salt, if that's drizzling, or finger miming salt, a little bit of salt over top of either side. And it's just amazing what that does. It just makes it so delicious. If you really like pork, a well done chicharron is magic. Absolutely magic. All right, so this is the tiramisu, the Twin Sun tiramisu. I am out of everything except for the Twin Sun tiramisu from the Star Wars collection and the Fallout crunchy candy bar. Everything else is gone. My scotcheroo, my darling.
Cup of coffee, darling.
Everything is gone. So I need to figure out how to reorder some. Well, I know how to reorder. I just need to get the gumption to reorder 2 or 3 bags of coffee from Bones, just because it's nice to have that kind of coffee around. Sometimes you just like to switch it up. So I'll give this a good grind, and then we'll add it to our Chemex. Ooh, that's ground really nice. And of course, because it's coated with whatever oil they put on there, there is no static, so that's great. And this is ready. Wow, we're just going right along. Okay, so I brought this up yesterday. I told the COA thing about, the rules and regs regarding, oops. 0 that, please. 0? Thank you. Regarding the frontage of the houses. So I told you that story to tell you this one, as someone we will no longer talk about said once during a stand-up routine. We're not allowed to put signs out. There are no political signs, regardless of whom you support. There are no political signs to be put out, either out on the lawn, which does not belong to you, or in your window facing out so that other people can see it. You just don't. And, we went through the mess with that with some people across the way over here who first put it out, took a week to take it down, and then stopped for a week and then put it in their window the last week of voting in 2020 with their Trump bullshit. So I don't know if they were fined. To be honest, I really don't care. They told me everything that they needed to tell me about who they are by skirting the rules and making it seem like those rules don't apply to them. So we had someone do that again this year. And what's really funny, it's not like they were on phase 1, and they were not new homeowners. They've been here probably about a year less than we have. So they're fully aware of how rules and regs are. What's worse is that they're retired police officers. So Lord knows how many cases people should go back and look at regarding them trying to fudge the rules in their favor. Anyway, so they had this cardboard cutout of Trump. And they thought they were going to be sneaky. And that's the thing about, it seems like the thing about people like that. They think they're smarter than they really are. So they thought that they would take this Trump cutout that I don't know what they do with at night, but they would put it in the front window of their house and then say, well, that's not political. That's not political signage when, what the hell else is it? They put that, they had this thing out for maybe a couple of days, looking through their front window, and everybody that passed by could see it through their front window. So this, by the way, this is all secondhand. I don't doubt that it's true, but the people that I got the information from love to exaggerate. I don't know. But, the story's still fun and funny regardless. So the board said, you can't do that. And then, of course, they said, well, it's not political. And then the board's like, what on earth are you talking about? That what's terrible, what's absolutely terrible about that kind of thing is that They know what they're doing. They just think they're outsmarting people. And I just don't think they're capable of outsmarting people. They're just not. And the sheer hubris to think that no one is going, everybody's in on their little joke. And it's like, you know, there were no Biden-Harris signs in 2020. There are no Harris-Walz signs for two reasons. One, if you associate with us, you know our political affiliation, and we don't really talk about it because that's not polite discourse when a set of people are talking. And two, we don't put that kind of stuff, well, we don't put it out because it's in the bylaws. You can't. And two, Trump people are going to screw with not only your signage, but probably your house. And that is a proven statement around the country, if not just in this area. I remember in 2020, when I was driving to work, I would drive by a house that had a Biden-Harris sign, and that Biden-Harris sign would get bigger and bigger and bigger because the people around them kept stealing it and taking it and getting rid of it. And in the end, he put it in the middle of a rose bush and then surrounded the rose bush with barbed wire, and it was the biggest Harris Biden sign I'd ever seen. And it had a little sign next to it saying "You're on camera." So I mean, that's just a proven thing, you know. It just is. So they were told to take it down. They said, no, we're not going to take it down. The wishy-washy board sighed and said, all right, well, we're going to have to start fining you. So they started fining them $150, which is not nearly enough. And it was like every month. And I'm like, that's definitely not nearly enough for breaking the rules. I mean, what precedent does that set? Here, let me run up a tab. Well, and then after a certain amount of time with their refusal, they called them and told them they would have to come in front of the board because the board is going to put a lien on their house, which I'm like, finally, you know. And that just means that if anybody, if they go to sell the property or sell the house, they have to include any fines and legal fines that come up during any issues with the seller. And that can drive, I mean, just the idea that there's a lien on the house, regardless of how much that lien is, can push away potential buyers. So that's a big problem. That's a big problem if you're trying to sell a house, to have a lien on your condo. So they said, we're going to put a lien on you if you don't do that, if you don't start following the rules, you know, because it is against the bylaws to display public or political anything visible to the outside. So they finally did take it down, but it was just the thought that these folks are retired police officers who thought that breaking the rules was fine. It was absolutely mental to think that, you know, they would feel they could skirt around rules and regs, especially in a condo community full of retired people that have nothing better to do but cause trouble. I mean, it's why we don't do anything outside. We got a table and 2 chairs out front. Out back, we tend to our garden. We've got flowers. You know, I mean, that's all we do outside. We don't do anything. I wash my car. I'm waiting for the day that somebody comes up to me and says that they would prefer I never wash my car outside. But then again, you've got 3 other people in this quad that also wash their cars. So, you know, it won't be one of my neighbors, my immediate neighbors who matter. So, you know, it's just wild. It is just wild to have heard that story. It's not surprising. It's just wild because, I mean, who cares? Nobody cares that you like Trump. The people that associate with you and you personally know your political affiliation. No one else cares. Putting a sign out front just shows that you're an asshole. I mean, that's all that does. There are scores of assholes putting signs out in front of their house. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what your political affiliation is. They really don't. It's performative. It's as performative as going to a cemetery and doing a thumbs up over top of a grave of a soldier. Speaking of stolen valor. I'm not going to go down that road with that. I saw that and that just aggravated me. That cutout will come back the last week of, I'm sure the asshole across the way here will put out their Trump and Pence sign back out with tape through Pence's name, probably a noose around it more than likely. So, it's going to happen, and it doesn't, even though I just went on a long rant about it, I don't necessarily care. It's just that the problem I have is the wishy-washiness of the board not putting through effort to enforce the bylaws that we all signed into, that we all go by. It would just be nice if it was just, if there was somebody on there that was like, you fucked up. This is bad. We're fining you. Here's your warning. Here's your fine. We're putting a lien on your house because that this is against the bylaws. You just do. You know that this is against the bylaws, and you're trying to skirt around it, and you're not smart enough to do that. So here's your find out part. I don't know. Hopefully this will be the last. He's gonna bitch until he croaks, but hopefully he goes the way of the MyPillow guy after this is over with, just into obsolescence, fades away. He Rush Limbaugh's, just fades away. Thank you for watching today. Sorry it went political, but people think that they are above it, and that we just had an example of that from Trump. They think they're above it. That law is not meant for me, but it is. It's meant for everyone. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I really appreciate it. I will talk to you tomorrow. We'll open up the Candy Crunch from the Fallout line from Bones Coffee, and we will drink that up. And then I'll see what else I can order. Maybe I'll pull up the app and we'll look at it together. Oof. Hands are weird. Talk to you later. Bye.